What is up, guys? Stark here. In today's character spotlight, I am taking a look at Beowulf. Now, this is a character that I did not care about at all whatsoever until I made this character spotlight, and now I absolutely want this character pretty much more than any other 4-star in the game that I don't have. It's funny how things like that work out when you sit down and take a look at the character. Now, this isn't necessarily because this character is very good, it's just because I like his character design and his aesthetics and all that stuff so much that I want him very badly. He isn't that bad of a servant overall, though, honestly. So, as I said, he does have really good artwork. I really like his 4-star artwork and his 3-star artwork, as well as his sprite. He's got like those 2 fire swords in his hand, and it's probably one of the cooler sprites in the game, and I definitely want him. And his voice actor, I believe his voice actor is Zoro from One Piece. So obviously I need to get him if that is true. I didn't actually check. I probably could have, checked that before I started recording this, but it slipped my mind, and I think I'm right anyway. So correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Hopefully I am. That would just make me want him that much more. Anyway, let's talk about the actual character here. He is a 4-star servant and a berserker, so he will go up to level 90 or level 80 rather, and he'll have 10,247 attack and 10,327 HP. So he's got some really high attack stats, ranking him 28th overall in max attack, and then at 57th overall in max HP. So that really good attack stats, but pretty low HP stats. But he's a berserker. That's really nothing new. He's pretty much a glass cannon. He's gonna come in, do a ton of damage, and he's gonna be out in like 2 or 3 turns. Not much else he could do there, but he does do insane amounts of damage, especially with his normal phantasm. It is quite fantastic, honestly. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but right now we'll talk about his servant skills. His first one being the Berserk A skill. This is a self buff. All of his skills are self buffs, but this one will increase his attack for 1 turn and also increase his noble phantasm strength for 1 turn. So this is your noble phantasm steroid, or your attack steroid, or whatever you want to call it. You're going to use this pretty much only exclusively the turn you're going to use your noble phantasm, because all of his effects last 1 turn and it's part of your noble phantasm, so you might as well just wait until you're going to use your noble phantasm in order to use this skill. It's a 20% increase at level 1 and goes up to a 30% increase at level 10, and then for his noble phantasm strength it goes up by 10% at level 1 and 20% at level 10. Overall, it's a very good skill, but you're only using it when you use your noble phantasm, so that's kind of a minor drawback to that skill. Moving on here to his second skill, it's going to be the Intuition B skill. Now this will gain critical stars, giving you 4 stars at level 1 and 14 stars at level 10. I don't really like these skills on anything that's not like a character that's seriously dealing with crits, because it kind of feels out of place, especially on a character like this, but hey, whatever. Moving on here to his third and final skill, it's the Battle Continuation B. So this will apply Guts 1 time over the course of 5 turns. So, this is nice on a berserker. They're going to take a lot of damage, they're going to die pretty quickly, so this will at least let him come back and survive an extra turn, maybe. He'll come back with 750 HP at level 1 and 2000 HP at level 10. It's not bad, anytime a berserker has Guts, it's always nice just to get that extra bit of, maybe that 1 extra turn to do some extra damage, or maybe you need that 1 extra turn for your noble phantasm. I don't know. It's always nice though, because they do go down really fast, so any type of survivability on berserkers are nice. But unfortunately, he has no defense whatsoever. I would have much rather have seen him lose the intuition skill and have some sort of like defense skill instead. Would have made him a lot better as a character overall. Moving on here to his class skills, he will have one, and that's the Madness Enhancement E-. This will increase Buster Card effectiveness by 1%. So now we're going to talk about his Ascension and his skill enhancement materials. For his Ascension, he needs the Proof of Heroes, Crystals, Scales, and Bones. And then for the skill enhancements, he's going to need Crystals, Proof of Heroes, Seeds, and the Fangs. So honestly, not that much. Should be very easy to max out outside of the Scales. Moving on here to his his command cards and his noble phantasm. He has 1 quick, 1 arts, 3 busters, So he's going to be very easy to get the Buster chains, and you can do a Buster Brave chain with him even outside of his Noble Phantasm, which is pretty awesome. You're going to do a ton of damage with him there. But you ideally want to use him centered for his Noble Phantasm and exclusively for his Noble Phantasm, because that is honestly the only point where this character shines. And his Noble Phantasm is a Buster, and it will deal significant damage to a single enemy that ignores evasion. And then on the overcharge, it will decrease critical hit rate for that enemy for 3 turns. So the overcharge effect isn't really that amazing, but he's going to be hitting like a truck. He's going to do a ton of damage, and there's not much else to say there. That's all it is. It's just a huge damage nuke. That's it. He's going to go in, use his Noble Phantasm, and get out. He could be really useful as like the last character. He'll just come in and do like a ton of damage, and hopefully he can do enough before he gets killed and you lose the fight. But it's not a bad strategy to use. I guess it depends on what your other characters are. But you can do an interlude quest to power it up, and this will just increase the amount of damage that it does. It doesn't do any extra effects or anything like that. Just a small increase in the damage, but it's a really good amount of damage overall, so definitely try and upgrade it when you can, so you could do that much little bit of extra damage. Moving on here to the craft essences that you could use on this character. First up, the level 10 Bond Craft Essence will be the final Battle Craft Essence, and while equipped, all allies will inflict 20% bonus damage against dragon enemies while on the field. So this is obviously very useful if you're going against dragon enemies. If not, you're going to have to use something else. So you could use the Kaleidoscope to start your Noble Phantasm gauge at 80% or 100% if you haven't max limit broken. And then you could just use your Noble Phantasm right away, do a ton of damage. It's always very nice. If not though, you can go ahead and just boost his attack, which is already very good, and use the Verdant Sound of Destruction for the 15% increase, or limit 0 over for the 25% increase for Buster cards. So moving on here to the character in review portion of this character spotlight. For his stats, I'm going to give him 4 stars overall in stats. He has a very high attack. I believe he has the 4th highest overall in attack for 4 stars, 28th overall for all his servants. So that's really good attack stats, and then he's 57th. He has got low HP stats, so obviously I can't give him a full 5 stars for that because he does have some pretty low HP stats. The 4 stars for that. As for his skills, I'm going to give him 3 stars for his skills. Honestly, they're not very good. The first skill's okay because it boosts his Noble Phantasm, but it's basically just only used for his Noble Phantasm. There's pretty much no use for it outside of that. You're just going to use it when you use your Noble Phantasm, and that's it. The stars feel off place with that character. It doesn't really feel like it meshes very well with him. There's no flow to his skills at all. He just got a whole bunch of random effects that really won't do much use outside of him using his Noble Phantasm, which I keep saying, but that's really the only thing that character is exceptionally good at. And the Guts is very nice, but outside of having any defensive skills, he's probably going to come back and then get hit again on the same turn and die anyway, so it's probably not going to help that much overall. Moving on here to the Versatility, I'm going to give him 2 stars in Versatility. He's not very useful on pretty much any team unless you're doing a lot of damage. His Noble Phantasm's not AoE, so you really can't even put him on like speed clearing teams. So I mean, unless you need like a strong Noble Phantasm single hit for something that you just can't get over, there's probably many better options, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. As for his aesthetics though, he's getting a whopping 5 stars because I absolutely love this character's design. Everything about it, outside of his Noble Phantasm, there's a slight critique I have there. He puts his swords away and he starts punching the guys, and I know that makes sense, but I would have just loved to have seen him use the swords and like slash them up. So moving on to the overall ranking, I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5 for the star rating. He does some good damage, very strong Noble Phantasm, but outside of that, he has nothing to offer to the team, so he loses a lot of points for that. But he does look cool, so hey, I'll use him if I get him. So that's going to wrap up this character spotlight. I will leave you guys here with his Noble Phantasm, and a quick shout out to Sir. I do not remember his YouTube name, but on the game he's called Sir. He was the one who let me use Beowulf, so thank you for that. If you are watching this video, again, thank you, and you can switch off of him if you do not want to use him anymore. So I'm done with him. Thank you for helping me out, and I will flash the image on the screen right now for you guys to see of the characters I still need, and then I will go ahead and leave you guys here with Beowulf's Noble Phantasm, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. 蹴って立っていた方の勝ちってやつよ。これを